Oh my gosh. Can you hear me? I want to make sure you guys can hear me. I'm coming in from my mic. Um, Great. Well, welcome everyone. I'm Cameron. I don't just read comics, I love them. To my first ever live stream. These are going to be really low key. I just want to talk about what is going on. I don't know. I think I got a member in here. What's up? Uh, Yeah, welcome to my first live stream. It's going to be so bare bones. Kind of just want to be up on my poll list and talking about what is going to be coming through the pipeline. Have a big plan, have a big list of notes that are into the description of what I want to talk about. So, yeah, I kind of just want a place to talk about my poll list weekly and, just get more audience interaction, pump up the content amount that I'm doing. So I thought that I listened to a lot of live streams. I listened to Comic Pop with Sal Crivelli and the Comic Pop team. I listened to Gem Mint's morning show right now, the Minty Fresh morning show. That's just him live streaming with his wife, and it looks so bare bones and so easy. So that's something that I want to do for myself. I'm drinking out of my Superman coffee mug, by the way. That's for the live stream. So yeah, that is really kind of what I'm coming to you guys with. I have some notes that I'm going to go through, and we can just kick it off from there. I'm also really excited to talk about what I've been talking about, what I was taking notes on for you guys. Because I just don't have a place where I can talk comics all the time, you know? I think we're going to pop on and do it on Instagram Live as well. I think I'm just going to hit it from all sides. Live. Oh boy. Baby's first Instagram Live. Okay, so I'm on Instagram Live and YouTube Live, which might be the way we need to do this from now on. This is my plant. I'm just in my apartment. Windows rolled down because it gets really hot in here. Again, bare bones live stream, but just want to come on and say hi to everyone and get the show on the road. So it is now 10:01. I started a pinch early. Gonna let some people come into the stream. TGIS, guys. I give myself a weekend night to sleep in and get the show on the road. So it's 10:02. So I'm just gonna hop in and I'm gonna talk about what is going on with Cameron Reads Comics. I'm Cameron, and I obviously don't just read comics, I love them. Welcome to my channel where I talk about that. So I guess I want to go back from the very beginning, the history of what I ever wanted this to be, which was me. I'd watch shows like Gem Mint. I'd listen to podcasts like Geek History Lesson, and it was just something that I wanted to emulate. And I always thought of the idea of building something that I wanted to be invited on comic book podcasts because I listened to so many of them, and because I wanted to be on those, I thought, I was like, I should just make my own. Like, if they're not going to have me on and I want to talk about comics, I will build. I don't know if you hear that car. I'll build my stage for myself. So that's what I did. Eventually, I decided that I'm going to have my own podcast where I talk about comics weekly. I wanted the idea to be, we talk about comics and it'd be something that is timeless. Like, this is never something that I kind of was part of the plan, because I think that weekly comic reviews, if you don't have a following, are just kind of like a waste of time, and they're obsolete as soon as the next Wednesday comes around. And so I didn't quite want to do that. I feel like you had to be so on top of it. And So I said, okay, well, if we read a book and we do a book club review, then I'm not going to have to, my opinions aren't going to change, And if someone wants to understand how I felt about the book or they want to read the book, then they'll know how I feel right away. That being the case, I made up my own I made the podcast going from there where it's like, we're going to read a book a week. And then I didn't have a lot of comic book friends. And I'm living my life. I have my normal friends. I worked at a surf shop when I started posting comics on my Instagram account, Cameron Reads Comics. And so that being the case, I was just like, I'm just going to post on that. So that's the Instagram morphed into the podcast because that became, I was in college and I lived in a dorm. So I told myself I'm not going to start a podcast living in my dorm. Too many logistics. And in college, I didn't have so many friends. I had my group and I was like part of like improv and I was doing other things, but I didn't know anyone over there doing that. So I was going to wait until I got home. And then that's when August 2020 is when I started the podcast because COVID. I sold a bunch of my comics to make the podcast. And that's really how it started. Then I made sure I had like 7 weeks of content, like 7 weekly podcasts, edited, recorded, taught myself from the ground up, just how to do it. And now I think my first episode is like unlistenable, which is so funny to me. But yeah, so that was really like my intention going into all of this. Eventually, when I moved in on my own, I was like, I can get a better following doing YouTube because, again, people aren't searching for podcasts on comics. They want to see the visuals. And I learned I don't need a partner to do YouTube because logistics are the hardest part. I'm like, okay, are you available this day? Are you available this day? Like, my schedule is it's a moving target. And especially it's a weekly moving target. So landing people, and that was just something that became really hard. And so I just thought, like, what's something I can do on my own? I can read a book and I can talk about it. I'm always reading books and I'm always trying to talk about them. That's where YouTube came in. So I started to focus on that more than the podcast, and people were asking me, where's the podcast? And so that's exactly what happened. Cut to the middle of all that, I got a job. I got a full-time job, and it was my first full-time job. I still currently work there, but it got busy. Before I worked part-time at a surf shop, and now I have 40 hours a week stocked away at a cubicle, and I don't have time to. I have time to read and stuff, not during lunch, not during work hours, but that became, just me. I don't know that it just took over my life, and acclimating to a 40-hour work week and trying to figure out, just be a young adult and also rest because it's a learning curve. And so other things have happened with my job, and not bad things, just like other things. I work in construction, and the industry is very feast or famine. When you're not busy, you're really not busy. But when you have work to do, you're pretty much slammed. And so that's how the last couple of years of my life have been, and just navigating that and making room for myself to rest and do all that and operating that. And I work at the surf shop again on the weekend, so I'm just busy. And so when it comes to like coordinating logistics for people or just like going and having a beer with my friend, I would choose beer with my friend, So that brings us to now where I make videos when I can. I always try and make it fun. I never want this to be a job, but I think I do want to get to the place where I can monetize it because I just came back from San Diego Comic-Con, and every single time I go to San Diego Comic-Con or any convention, I just think, like, how cool would it be to moderate a panel? I listen to the podcast, Comic Book Couples Counseling. I'm like, how did you guys get in the room with Robert Kirkman? How are you? One of Sal Crivelli with Comic Pop, and I listen to Off the Rack or Elseworlds Exchange, and I'm like, you have a weekly podcast with Josh Williamson? Like, how do you do that? And that's where, and I get to meet those guys. like some of the best people that I've seen on the channels that I've met. It's just being with them. That's how I got Doc Shaner on the podcast. Is I met the guy. I was like, hey, what's up, man? So do you want to be on the podcast? Yeah, okay. It's just random Twitter DMs. Very loose, fast and loose. That's how I got Ron Mars on. I met him at a con. He gave me his email, and I was like, I'm obsessed with you. So going to a convention like San Diego and seeing something like that go down makes me think, what am I doing? Like, I'm able to get this following kind of going, especially when I'm consistent, and especially when I'm getting these creators. It's easy to get these creators when you just are a normal, nice person. So that brings me to like kind of where I'm at now, where I'm like, I'm reassessing my priorities. And every time I picture what I want my life to look like, this channel is a part of it. And so now I'm at this place where I'm trying to put my head down and just do the work. So here we are. I want to garner a following. I want to make a cornerstone for people to have a place to talk about comics, hear about comics, and make it about the comics and not the movies, because the comics are more important to me than the movies. San Diego Comic-Con for me, like Hall H is not really where you're going to find me. Biggest room you're going to find me in is probably Ballroom 20. And that's if Jim Lee and friends decides to get an appropriately sized room for that. But, because that's the second biggest area in the con, if you're wondering. But so yeah, now I'm like, let me put my head down. I cut out a lot of my extracurriculars now. Like I was doing improv. I'm not doing improv anymore. I was doing, I was part of a small group. I was like, that's taking up too much time. My focuses now are really just, my job, my health, my partner, and now this. I want this to be my fourth thing, because every time I do it, I never regret it. It is so fun, and it's my favorite thing. And coming after something like Comic-Con, I just am reinvigorated for my love in comics. So that's what we're doing now. That's the status. And so that's what's been going on. And now moving forward, I'm making plans. I have a huge catalog of, not huge, but I have a moderate catalog of videos that I have recorded that I'm currently editing to get out here. More CGC unboxings, because every time I submit to CGC, I'm going to do an unboxing. More trades, more indie trades too, because Distillery and all these other like companies are just blowing my mind with the stuff that they're putting out. I'm looking at here's looks like 5 podcasts that I'm sitting on right now that I've recorded but haven't even put out. We have Strange Adventures, which I recorded like 2 years ago with Kyle Rice and Russell Gardner. Superman Birthright. Best of the Year 2023 with my friend Hannah Bader that we did annually. Yes, it is August of 2024, and I haven't put that out yet. We have Best Comics of 2023 that I did with Casual Comicer and Pulp Fiction Long Beach, and then Criminal Lawless with Russell Gardner. So I have stuff, and I just need to put it out. I got to figure out the formatting. I don't know how I'm going to be doing podcasts. If they're going to be weekly, if I'm just going to snatch up the audio from this and put it over there, we'll figure it out. But that is currently the status of where we're going. I'm also just going to do a complete rebrand. Not in what the messages I'm putting out, but just in like I eventually would love to do merch. So putting together a single image or a package or like something that all my channels start to like uniform and they're under the same umbrella, because the podcast logo is different than the Instagram thumbnail, and we just need to make that all cohesive. So that is where we're at right now. And that's the plan. I'm already talking to a graphic designer who is my friend, and I have faith in their ability. I think they're going to do great. I'm working on pulling that package together. And then I'm doing this. I'm spending a lot more time reviewing comics and reading them, which is the goal always. So let's talk about freaking comics, okay? Enough about me. I'll probably always hit on some news in these live streams, but as of right now, let's just talk about some comics. SDCC 2024 recap okay, so I got to be honest, guys. I thought Marvel had such a weak presence at this con. Okay, I thought they were so weak, and I thought they were so weak, and I'm like, I just need something more from you guys. Hall H was the Hall H announcement. They did everything we expected. Having the con on the Thursday that Deadpool releases, I don't know if they planned that, but that's what happened. So they had the con where Deadpool releases. They had and so obviously they showed the movie at the convention on Thursday night. Then there's the big Saturday announcement. I still don't know how I feel. All I care about is the Fantastic Four when it comes to Marvel's announcements. That being the case, Marvel Studios was fine. That's about as much as I have to say. Like, they showed the movie on Thursday, and then big Doctor Doom drop. I don't know if I love Robert Downey Jr. coming back, but let's just wait until we see a trailer, okay? Everyone's coming up with fan theories and what's going on, and obviously it's going to have to be this and this and this. I feel like we just need to wait and see. So that's what I'm going to do. I like Robert Downey Jr., and I think that he's a great actor. So if he just leans in, if he never takes off the mask, I'm happy. But like the dynamic of Tony being him taking his mask off, and then all the Avengers are like, whoa, it's Tony. That's kind of a cool emotional stake that can happen. But I love it. So we're going to get into now what I thought were the most important announcements. And you guys know by now I'm a DC guy. So we're going into the DC slate of comics. We have Batman by Scott Snyder and Nick Dragotta. Or we have DC All In. Let's start there. The DC All In initiative is so interesting to me because it's their answer to what the comparison to the Ultimates is so funny and interesting to me. Mostly because that's what everyone else has said. They're trying to make it modern, trying to make it now, even though comics are always modern and now. That's just me. So that leads us DC All In going into first Absolute Comics. Absolute Comics. Okay, so here are the main teams. There was Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, all announced. And I think that's it for Absolute titles. But the main three are the ones I was there for the panel for and the ones I'm most enthusiastic about. Otherwise, we got one image. So I'm not really going to talk about Flash and Green Lantern. Like, cool. I think it's Flash is by Jeff Lemire. And I forget who Green Lantern's by. Maybe Green Lantern's by Jeff Lemire. I don't know. But let's talk about what we saw for Absolute Comics Batman. Scott Snyder and Nick Dragotta. Scott is great. I read the New 52, loved the New 52, and literally it just made me so freaking happy to find out he's doing it again. I think Scott Snyder's very hot and cold. If he's hitting, he's really hitting, and if he's not, I'm like, okay. Like I love the first half. Court of Owls through, let's say, Endgame of his Batman run is amazing. And a large part of that is to Greg Capullo as well. And I loved their collaboration, but I'm glad to see he's not doing it with Capullo again. So like everything we've seen from that, the announcement was like very, very, very cool. Batman's an engineer. He doesn't have Alfred, or he doesn't have a butler, but he has Alfred, and Alfred's like wearing some gnarly armor. He looks like one of the cops from Batman Beyond, and he's on a gnarly motorcycle. So I'm very excited for that. I was like, the first image we saw of Batman from Nick Dragotta, I was like, okay, I was like, am I sold on this? I don't know. I just didn't know. And Absolute as the title name, I was like, I don't know. But watching the presentation and seeing what Scott had to say about it was very cool. And that convinced me to want to stick around for what was going on. Superman by Jason Aaron and Rafa Sandoval. This one actually really has me. I read the first Jason Aaron Superman stuff, the transition issues from Philip Kennedy Johnson on Action Comics to Gail Simone's run, the 3-issue Bizarro arc, which was good. It was fine. It was just, a good old Bizarro story, and John Timms was on the art, and super cool. But the thing that actually really gets me for this one is Rafa Sandoval on art. Now, Rafa Sandoval picked up the tail end of Philip Kennedy Johnson's Superman run, and I thought was freaking amazing. Yeah, Rafa Sandoval crushes, and I really, really, really liked what they were putting down. I just love their art. And so to find them on another Superman book, because if you read House of Brainiac, that's what Rafa Sandoval did the artwork for, and it was awesome. If you've read any of the later Philip Kennedy Johnson, like the tail end of that Metallo arc, Action Comics run that he did, it was all amazing. So like that's actually a really great artist, and I want them to get their flowers. I'm really, really, really excited for everything that they have going on. And like, I don't know. We've only seen like the 2 images, the issue 1 cover, which is him walking through the cornfield with like the dust cape. And then we've seen a lot more. I have the ash can for Batman, Absolute Batman, but we haven't really seen much for that, for the other stuff. Then when it comes to Wonder Woman is the one that caught me off guard with how awesome it looks and how I'm excited for it. So Kelly Thompson is crushing right now. Everyone is absolutely in love with her Birds of Prey run. And to the point where I'm going to read it, because if it's that good, I want to know what's going on. But then the other half too is like, I want to know what is going on with Leo Romero's art. I followed him sometimes, and I don't usually do this, guys. I've only done this with like a handful of artists. We have Leonardo Romero, and like Dan Mora, who I've just followed before they were on any titles I was reading. I was just like, wow, your art is absolutely gorgeous. I just want to see, I just like love tonally what you're doing. And then I think the other strength is Jordi Belair's art, or the coloring that they're doing. So really freaking excited about that. The images that Kelly Thompson, the angle they're taking, because All In is about what if basically the moral force of the universe was Darkseid for the absolute universe, as Superman is the moral center of the DC current universe. I'm down with that. Okay. Kelly Thompson and Hayden Sherman are on the Wonder Woman title. Kelly Thompson crushing it, like I just said, but they're going witchy with Wonder Woman. She's going to be a witch, and she like looks kind of less like an Amazon and more like a Viking, and that is so freaking cool. I'm so down with that. I'm so down with that. I'm so excited. And then Hayden Sherman, not an artist I saw. I'd seen their work before. I guess they've worked with Scott Snyder before on a distillery book. They've worked with a couple other people, and I saw Hayden Sherman a couple times at the convention after the panels that they discussed this. And I went up to him and I said, well, after a couple days, I went up to him and I said, hey, I'm actually pretty mad at you for not having a booth at this convention, because your Wonder Woman art is amazing. And I would love to be able to freaking to be able to buy a piece from you, or like commission a Wonder Woman sketch. And I think their participation is one that I'm like some of the most excited for, because the cool thing, if you want to make, and this is actually a conversation I had with him. I like cornered him coming outside of the hall in like the main kind of lobby area before you go outside. And I was like, excuse me, I was at your panel. I know you. So I talked to him and I said, and he very much made the similar. We were talking about the comparison to the Ultimate Universe. And I was very respectful, because I don't want to be like, oh, you're just doing that, right? No, I was very respectful. And I said, it's obvious, people are talking about this, and I think it is a factor, but I don't think it's the only factor. one of the things that I'm really excited about is just taking an artist that I haven't heard of. And I told him that, I'm just being honest. I'm not familiar with your work, but what I saw in the presentation, I loved. And the cool part about, I think, the Ultimates that's overlooked, especially now, is that Brian Michael Bendis was an unknown quantity when he started on Ultimate Spider-Man. The only other, for my money, I think the only other books he did was like the Jinx World stuff, and then the oh my gosh, it was the Jinx World books, and then it was Sam and Twitch, which is a Spawn series. So a Spawn tie-in book, or like Spawn family series. Anyways, so it's bringing eyes onto new talent, and giving a platform for new talent to tell great stories. And that's why that's why I said to Hayden Sherman. And the cool part was, he's like, yeah, I currently don't have like an art, I want to say like distributor. He's like, I don't have like, representatives. I don't have an art representative right now, but I have to go get one now, which is the best news. He needs someone to manage his art portfolio so that he can focus on the freaking comics, which is awesome. I'm super down for that. So that's how I'm feeling about Absolute Comics. I'm going to subscribe to all those titles except for Flash and Green Lantern. I'm sorry, guys. When they come out in the trades, I'll read them, but I also just can't afford my new pull list. So that's cool. I just subscribed to all those. Wonder Woman looks so freaking cool. Hayden Sherman, really excited. Love his art. He's like, are you going to go to New York Comic Con? And I said, no, because I'm not. Because I'm on the West Coast, my dog. Okay. Which transitions into the DC October releases that were announced. And this is like, okay, Absolute Comics got me stoked, but the DC October releases got me more stoked. The first one that I'm most excited about, I wrote down here, just the comics I'm subscribing to. First one, Justice League Unlimited by Mark Waid and Dan Mora. I freaking love Mark Waid. He is my favorite writer. Favorite writer of all time. Fantastic Four, Captain America, Black Widow, Daredevil, Flash. Just to name a few. He's amazing. I just think he's one of the best writers of all time. He has the greatest heart of any creator ever. Superman Birthright. The Last Days of Lex Luthor. Great freaking series. Even one issue deep. Great series. So for Justice League Unlimited, we have Mark Waid and Dan Mora collaborating again. Dan Mora pulling double time on 2 different books. And if you look at the logo for that series too, it is the logo that was the oh my gosh, Just League Unlimited cartoon series logo. If you look at the back, because the October releases, the number ones, it's all the characters doing some heroic pose, and the backdrop is their logo, which is cool. I'm okay with that. As an initiative, and I think those covers are going to come out really, really nice. We have Mark Waid and Dan Mora, and the team is your standard Justice League members, and then it has Captain Atom and Star Sapphire. So the idea of that book is that something happens in Absolute Power that's currently going on, that now the rest of the DC universe realizes that they need a Justice League, because we've been without a Justice League for 2 years, which I like that idea. As long as you guys can do it, treat the Titans well in this transition. But yeah, and it's not just 7-member Justice League. It's that any hero who is a hero in the DC universe is a member of the Justice League, which is the fundamental principle of Justice League Unlimited, the show. So very cool. And then Star Sapphire's in it too, which I'm down with because she is so cool. Have you guys read the Jeff Johns Green Lantern run? Quick sip of coffee. Next up, the one they announced is that I'm also excited for is Tom Taylor and Mikel Janin, who are taking over Detective Comics. I've subscribed. Also, all of these are available for pre-order right now. So go pre-order these if any of them sound good to you. These are just the ones. These are every title I've pre-ordered. So if you're wondering, I've already pre-ordered all of them. Detective Comics. Oh, Vance, pre-order them, okay? Do it now, or else leave the stream and then pre-order. So Detective Comics by Tom Taylor and Mikel Janin. This one's really cool. You know, really tragic to see Tom Taylor is leaving Nightwing. Yeah, heartbreaking actually. But we have this final arc, and they've already announced an omnibus. Go pick up the omnibus. So that being the case, they're taking over Detective from Rom V, and I think Raphael Albuquerque. Oh, heck yeah. Oh, my gosh. Thank you, Vance. Vance also in the Instagram comments just told me about, reminded me the best book I'm most excited about is Batman and Robin Year One by Mark Waid and Chris Samnee. Mark Waid, the greatest writer of all time. Chris Samnee also freaking rules. The same team that did Black Widow and Daredevil. I'm the most excited for that. Vance, I'm glad you automatically subscribed because that's the right move. If you guys are wondering if Chris Samnee is going to do a good job on that arc, go check out his Instagram for all the posts in October, because every day in October he does it's called Battober, and he does a Batman sketch every single day, and he gives himself a word every single day, and he challenges so many other artists to do the same thing. So it's very, very, very cool. Vance, I'm so glad you mentioned that because I would have forgot. But going back to Detective Comics by Tom Taylor and Mikel Janin, I'm very, very, very excited because it's going to be good. You know, Tom Taylor writes Batman. Go read Batman the Detective that he did with I think it's Andy Kubert. I don't want to be wrong, but I think it's Andy. Great story. He understands mystery. He understands noir. And now he's doing one going back to Batman's origin. So, yeah, I'm down for that. Mikel Janin, personally, hit or miss with his art, but I'm down to read it. I'm looking forward to it. Action Comics by Mark Waid and Clayton Henry, also one of the ones I'm looking the most forward to. Action Comics, Mark Waid, in my opinion, is supposed to be writing Superman at all times. And as he is going and like back at DC, which is the best, as he's doing Absolute Power and he's doing all these things, he's writing more Superman, and I think he understands these characters better than any other writer. So that being the case, him writing Superman and like a fat arc, he's doing a 12-issue weekly series in Action Comics. So, and they're probably already way into it by now because it comes out in October, and that's only like 2 months away. So, yeah, I'm really excited for that. Superman Birthright's one of my favorites. Superman is Mark Waid's favorite character. He knows all the issue numbers. It's going to be sick. So, I'm so excited. And Clayton Henry, not an artist I'm familiar with. I'm absolutely sure, because I've heard his name. I've read his work before, but not quite something that like I'm super familiar with right now. I'm excited to see what they're doing. But all of these announcements leave me with one last thing, which is what is going on with World's Finest? Because Mark kept saying he only wants to do, because he left the Shazam title to make sure to go do he only wanted to do it with Dan Mora. And so now we have World's Finest. Dan Mora is already on 2 titles. It's impossible for him to do 3 unless he's Jack Kirby in disguise. So that being the case, I'm just like, hey, are you going to leave World's Finest for the same reason that you're leaving for the same reason that you're leaving Shazam? Because I don't want World's Finest to end. I think it's like the best DC book right now. Vance in the Instagram chat saying, been waiting for Mark Waid Superman standalone for a long time. Hoping this will be excellent. Oh, Vance, he's heading out. Thank you for coming. I also freaking hope that he's on it for a long time. I freaking love Mark Waid, and he's my favorite, and he deserves a standalone. I'm like, of all people you haven't given the freaking DC, the guy who wrote Kingdom Come, you're not going to give him Superman. I think it's a timing thing, but I really would be excited for him to hop on that title. So Action Comics is just great news. Yeah. Any Mark Waid on Superman I'm going to take, but not at the cost of World's Finest. Okay, so that is the news section, the SEC recap section. I'm also going to leave this posted for everyone to listen to later. It's a lot of me talking, so if you guys want to hop in on the chat, very cool. If not, I totally understand. So I'm just gonna go through and tell you what I read. First, I got these are the books I read, and I'm catching up on my poll. I'm gonna show you what I'm reading, what I read this week, and then what I'm going to read. I'm gonna read after this too because my voice is tired. Absolute Power, number 2, crushed it. Dan Mora with specifically, I don't know who the colorist is on this book. Last name is Sanchez. They are absolutely crushing. This issue is amazing. Everything, all the character stuff going on in here, very, very cool. Just like really a great event. In the DC lore, they put everyone back in their classic suits, or at least they gave Batman the classic purple glove suit again. And I'm like, thank you. Next up, read Superior Spider-Man. Finished off Superior Spider-Man by Dan Slott. Here is how I felt. It was good, but it ended way too early. 8 issues. I just don't know, man. I just wanted way more of this. I think from what I've heard, he's pivoting to focus on Spider-Boy. Very cool. Yeah, just wanted more. It's over. I'm not going to do a video on this one just because it took me a long time. These are old. These are very old issues, and so I don't even really recall how it started, but like it's over, and so that's what happens. Next up, okay, I got an Absolute Power tie-in. Batman. This issue was really good. Batman versus Bizarro. He's doing a break-in with Catwoman to go find the mother box that Amanda Waller has, and they meet up with a freaking brainiacked up Bizarro. We know how Batman fights Superman. How does he fight Bizarro though? Interesting, pretty good issue. It's a 2-parter, so there you go. Spoilers. It's a 2-parter. Next up is Green Arrow by Josh Williamson, another Absolute Power tie-in. This series has been so good, and I'm really interested to see where Josh is going to land as he finishes up his run on this series, because it's been so good. And I'm like, you're going to end it in some tie-in issues. Josh Williamson is so freaking busy right now, though. He has everything going on. Like, I think he has at least 3 titles going on in the Energon universe, the G.I. Joe stuff that he's always wanted to write. And then along with Superman, he did Action Comics and Superman monthly event. He's just been wearing himself down. So Batman and Robin, he was co-writing at the same time too. So he's just busy. So this is great. This continues to just be freaking amazing. Yeah, it's good. And like, it's so much about the Green Arrow family and what they're going to do. Why is Ollie acting this way? It's awesome. Okay. Batman Dark Age, book 4, really awesome. A Batman Robin story. Mark Russell, Mike Allred, Laura Allred, just freaking awesome. I love this story so much. It's so good. Only good things to say about it. I think everyone should be reading this and at least wait for the trade when it comes out. It's funny though that they didn't do this one the same way they did Superman Space Age. So, and I guess they're working on a Wonder Woman title right now. So I'm really excited to see whatever they have going on for that. But it's issue 4, and I don't know how they're going to finish everything that they're trying to catch up on. Like, they have 2 issues to resolve everything. So, and it's like, we have 3 villains. We have Pariah, Ra's al Ghul, and I'm pretty sure Joker just got introduced. So, don't know, man. Okay, my favorite Spider-Man, don't listen to that. My favorite Spider-Man title coming out right now, Spectacular Spider-Man by Greg Weisman and Humberto Ramos. I love this, man. I love this title. I think Miles and Peter should always have a book, very Batman and Robin vibes. And from the guy who created Spectacular Spider-Man animated series, And Young Justice, just like this guy knows story. He knows character dynamics. He's crushing. So Spectacular Spider-Man, heck yeah, man. Really loving this book. Very, very, very excited about it. It just continues to be great. Okay, Ultimate Spider-Man number 7. I have opinions about Ultimate Spider-Man. I love Marco Cicchetto's art. I'm really liking the Hickman story, but I am waiting for something to happen. Just like we haven't had an action sequence in a while. So, and this one had some, but I'm just like, they're building character moments. They're setting up a whole universe. I get it, but dang, man, like let's get this show on the road, in my opinion. But it's good. Like, it's good. Like, I'm never not going to pull it right now, or at least for right now, but just kind of waiting for something to happen. And then the big book of the week is Uncanny X-Men #1 by Gail Simone and David Marquez. Absolutely great. Absolutely great. I'm worried. I wonder how long David Marquez can stay on an ongoing title. Like, my biggest fear is that he leaves because he gets tired and he can't keep up with the schedule, which is totally normal, but that's not quite something. That's not what I want to happen, you know? But yeah, it sets up the story pretty good. I like all the characters she's using. I'm only reading 3 of the X-Men, or 4 of the X-Men titles currently. Uncanny, regular X-Men, so not Exceptional X-Men. Not that one. The other 2 main titles. And then X Factor by Mark Russell, because I think he is awesome. This one, yeah, it was good. I don't know much about the X-Men. I think it's giving me the vibes I want it to be. So that's the best case scenario, right? Okay, and now I decided we're going to do a section where I show you guys what I'm behind on. So that's why you're like, Cameron, you just finished Superior Spider-Man? I'm like, yeah, I did. So now here's what I'm behind on in my poll. I'm just going to show you what I'm going to be trying to read. Currently, this is not just it. I have a bigger pile. Fantastic Four 21 and 22 by Ryan North. So I'm not super far behind on that. Met Ryan North, the nicest guy. Love this cover. Like, are you kidding me? So yeah, I got to read these. I think I'm going to read these right after the stream because they're really good, and I'll talk about them next week. So what we're doing right now is basically what I want to do on a weekly basis. I'll write down more of my thoughts, but I kind of wanted to give a State of the Union address. Spider-Man, Black Suit and Blood with a Lionel Yu cover. I maybe just bought this for the cover because it's so good, but yeah, I love Lionel Yu Spider-Man. So there's this guy, which is an anthology, but it's written by DeMatteis and Straczynski are the first names I see. I'm okay with that. Namor #1, Jason Aaron. See, these are kind of weekly. These are brand new, but the pile does not get newer. It gets older. Namor #1 by Jason Aaron. You don't need to twist my arm to get me to read Jason Aaron. So and Namor, I think, is a great character for him to take on. I really want to go read the Jason Aaron Punisher run. I didn't read it. I read the first issue and it was amazing. So hopefully I get to read that again. The Ultimates #1. I don't know how this Ultimate Universe works. I kind of am waiting to go read Ultimate Invasion before I read more. So yeah, just behind on that. Okay, don't be mad. I get recommended this every single week, and I hear it's the best thing ever. Helen of Windhorn #1 in my books. Cover looks gorgeous. It looks mystical. I don't know. I have to read it, but I haven't read it yet. So there we go. Second pile from the big pile. Here we go. Marvel's Blood Hunt #1. I don't know how I feel about a vampire event, and I'm just like really not reading Marvel right now. I'm waiting for them to do something that grips me. I'm like, guys, come on. So I've heard this is a really good event, and I like Blade, and I saw him recently, so would love to kind of plug in more to that. So Blood Hunt #1, hopefully going to read that soon. This book is one that I want to read, but I haven't, and I could still pop on. It is the Zatanna Bringing Down the House issue. Javier Rodriguez did the art on Robin Year One. Yes, I believe it was Robin Year One. And it was so freaking good. So I really want to come on in and Mariko Tamaki is amazing. Zatanna should always have an ongoing title at DC because she has such a large fan base. Same as like Power Girl and Vixen. So we have Power Girl, we have Zatanna. Let's go hop on and get Vixen her own title. Okay, next up. See, I'm behind. I'm just so behind, guys. These are all the books I haven't read. Casual Comicer in the live right now. Hi, Alan. Alan's gonna be doing some of these with me. So he's driving right now, and we're just glad that he's on the road safely. Kid Cudi presents Moon Man #1. This is the second printing. I love Kid Cudi, and I hear he's a comic book fan. So, like, I like hip hop. I like Kid Cudi. I like Denzel Curry, and I like Vince Staples, who all love comic books. So I really want to freaking read this. I want to read this to like real recognize real. You guys like comic books? I like comic books. Let's talk about them. Yeah, you have a really great music career. I like comics and you like comics. Let's just talk about them. That's why I bought that. I was just like, you're cool. Okay, this is probably one of the oldest books in my poll right now that I haven't read yet. It's not in my poll. It's just in my pile of books I need to read. Immortal Thor #1 by Al Ewing. After loving Immortal Hulk so much, I decided that I needed to read this one. And yeah, I just haven't read it yet. But have you seen the variant covers look really good? Hopefully I can talk about that next week. Okay, we have 2 distillery books now that I hear are amazing. Spectrograph #1 is the first one. Gonna read that eventually when I can. Yeah, looks good. James Tynion. I'm getting more. Distillery just seems so cool, and I just don't know how to navigate that. So yeah, I really want to like Distillery, and so let me go pick up their books. Very interesting to be doing magazine-sized books right now. So, what's up, Shahir, on the Instagram live stream? Scott Snyder and Francisco Francavilla, White Boot. A team that you don't need to twist my arm to read. If you like Batman Black Mirror, look no further than this title. In a magazine size, it's a cool cover. This artist is just amazing. So yeah, again, really want to pick up that book. Then we have 2 annuals that are just kind of random. I'm in no rush to read them because once I read them, they're done. But also that makes me want to read them more. Nightwing Annual, 2024 Annual. B. Bennett Pirate Queen. It's kind of like in that pirate arc. Maybe I'll check it out. Yeah, but not written by Tom Taylor. That's kind of how I go about reading my annuals. I'm like, oh, are you written by the artist or the writer? No. Okay. But yeah, and then I got recommended this one, which is not one I thought I'd read ever, but Harley Quinn Annual 2024. This is the poll for me. Written and drawn by Erica Henderson of Unbeatable Squirrel Girl fame, recent Eisner Award winner. Saw her, but did not introduce myself at the Eisner Awards because at that event, I don't want to come up to them and just be a fan. You know, like if they get in my proximity closest enough, yes, I will. If not, I won't, because I'm just like, you're at an event with your peers, and for me to like come up and be like, oh my gosh, I love Squirrel Girl. And that's not the energy that they need. So I won't do that. Next up, oh my gosh, I have a lot more. Let's see. What I'm behind on. I'm being real. Oh, it's series. Okay, so Rook Exodus #2. Don't know how this slipped into my poll. I'm not really reading any of the Ghost Machine stuff right now. When Junkyard Joe comes back, I'll read it. But yeah, Rook Exodus by Jeff Johns and Jason Fabik. Brad Anderson and Rob Lee. Just great Universal team. Great book. I liked it. I'm just waiting for the trade. I'm just like, okay, let's see what's going on. It's a gorgeous book. Also, again, I wonder how long Jason Fabik is going to stay on an ongoing title, because he does great work, but I just don't think he's very fast. Okay, next up is all of basically Daredevil. Yeah, all of Daredevil from issue 8 to 12. I need to read. So there you go. Yeah, I just fell behind, and like that's the cool part though about having all the issues is like I'll crush these in like a week, and then I'll give you guys my opinion on what's going on. So far, the run's fine. Like Saladin Ahmed, Aaron Cooter, I love his art. People were iffy when he started Daredevil, but I wasn't. I'm like, yeah, Aaron Cooter, you crush. And I met the guy. I have a piece of art by the guy. Very nice. Really like him. So that's how I feel about that. Okay, and then the next, 3 issues right here, Spider-Boy by Dan Slott. Unfortunately, I removed this from my poll list because it wasn't speaking to me. It's good, and I really love that there's representation for a redhead in the Spider family, but it's just not really my bag. I love the fun villains. I love the quirkiness, but it's just a little too young for me. And sometimes you have to recognize that you're not the target audience. I have nothing bad to say about the book. It just I was like, okay, it's just not what I need to be spending. How much is it? $4.99 a week on? That's a lot of money. So yeah, not gonna be reading that anymore. Wishing them all the best. And there's the new introduction of Spider-Girl. Again, an announcement at Marvel for Comic-Con. I wasn't really wow on. Okay. Next up, okay, we're almost done. We're almost done with all the books I haven't read that I own. Shazam issues 11 through 14, written by Josie Campbell. Another book that is not in my poll list anymore. I took it off because peace, you're here. Peace, my dog. I took it off because I wasn't really. Mark Waid left. I felt like the title kind of like nothing happened. I'm like, there was some wacky adventures, but it wasn't really my bag. So I just was waiting for something to happen, and it kind of didn't. And then I fell behind, and they switched writers. And I really like Josie Campbell's Ms. Marvel series. So yeah, it just didn't do it for me. What I needed it to do. So now I pulled it because I can wait for the trade and I'll read it all collected and it'll be really freaking good. But in the meantime, I don't need to be spending another $3.99 a week. I want like the trajectory that Mark Waid was going in, and the foundation he laid down for that book was really, really great. But, I was like, okay, what was the big moment? Was it when Black Adam like fought him and destroyed their family's new house? I'm like, okay. All right. There's 3 more books we're going to talk about. Okay, well, you can see the back of this one. I got the entire series, Somna, at my local comic shop for $20. Somna, award-winning Somna by Becky Cloonan and Tula Lote. In colors by Lee Luffridge. My man, Lee Luffridge, on stage at the Eisners. One of my favorite moments. Yeah, so I bought this because it was $20, and this got nominated for so many awards, and the idea of it sounds really cool. So, gonna read this. We'll do like an actual proper YouTube review because it's 3 issues and I have the whole series. So, it says Dream Demons and Witch Trials 18 and up, PG-13 rating, PG-18 rating. Then I have the last book in a series, which is Batman First Night by Dan Jurgens and Mike Perkins. Seriously, one of the freaking best. Like, exactly what we needed right now, especially if you loved Batman Cape Crusader, go read First Night, which is now going to get collected. This is the last issue in the series, to my knowledge. It's going to be great. Good OG Batman. And the last book I got this week was Transformers trade paperback by Daniel Warren Johnson and Mike Spicer. Met Daniel Warren Johnson. This is an award-winning series. That is what I had for you guys. Okay, I'm going to read this because Daniel Warren Johnson's, I'm reading this in Murder Falcon because Daniel Warren Johnson is coming to my comic shop. And I'm like, I want to make sure you sign everything I have for you. You're the man. I'm in love with you. He was so kind to me. I just read Beta Ray Bill. Gonna finish writing my review for that so I can have notes when I talk about it on the camera. Yeah. So that is all I had planned to talk to you guys about for this live stream. I'm gonna leave this up though weekly, so you guys can come hopefully participate with me Sundays at 10. I'll do a live stream where we can talk about comic books and yeah, what's going on in the universe. So my name's Cameron. I don't just read comics. I love them. Thank you so much to everyone who participated, joined me on this live stream. It wasn't huge, but everyone who came in and said hi and gave me a wave or popped in for just a second, checked out what I was doing. Thank you. Hopefully this is going to become something bigger than what it is. And if not, it's just always nice to talk about comics. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. If you have anything you want to comment or talk about, come hang. But in the meantime, I'm Cameron. I don't just read comics. I love them. Make sure to clobber those like and subscribe buttons. I will see you guys next time. And stream. Sign.